to descend like a thought in disguise. The scarab spins truth where the cosmos collide. Energy whispers, it never says goodbye. The Beatles crawl, the Beatles rise.
Go to AmericanHealer.website now. Get the tools for health and inspiration the way God intended.
Sort of burst the chaos, yet the chaos rise. My name Beatles, 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 over and over, spinning the world in the grip of their shoulders. Beatles, 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 under and over, rolling through time till the blackness is sober. The heat fades lower, the order begins. A stillness so perfect it hums from within. The void sings softly, entropy takes a bow. In the shadow of silence, the scarab knows how. The second law is dancing, feeding life through decay. The third law holds the promise that the stillness will stay. Beatles, 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 under and over, rolling through time till the blackness is sober.
Go to AmericanHealer.website now. Get the tools for health and inspiration the way God intended.
More and more and more. And we have been over the last 60 years. In order to succeed, the food industry needs us to eat more and more and more. And we have been. Over the last 60 years, we've completely changed our eating habits. We now eat bigger portions, we snack all day long, and we've crammed our diets full of cheap, ultra-processed food. The result is obesity for us and billions of profit for the food industry. But recently, something interesting has happened. For the first time in decades, people are eating a little less. Nothing crazy. In order to succeed, the food industry needs us to eat more and more and more. And we have been. Over the last 60 years, we've completely changed our eating habits. We now eat bigger portions, we snack all day long, and we've crammed our diets full of cheap, ultra-processed food. The result is obesity for us and billions of profit for the food industry. In order to succeed, the food industry needs us to eat more and more and more. And we have been. Over the last 60 years, we've completely changed our eating habits. We now eat bigger portions, we snack all day long, and we've crammed our diets full of cheap, ultra-processed food.
Okay. So you asked for this. 1,000 people done sent me this video. Not this video, but I thought she made a great intro to the video. No, this is the video that people have been sending me. This guy. Wait a minute.
Hello, my name is Zachary Smickle, and I'd like to show you something. Smoothie King has a GLP1 support menu. Yes, that is real, not satire, not a cool edit by the old Zaxter. A national chain looked at the rise in Ozempic, Wegovy, Zepbound, and said, cool, let's redesign our menu. And guess what? They're not alone. McDonald's announced they're testing new menu items to appeal to users of GLP-1 products. Factor, the meal delivery kit service, now has GLP-1 specific plans. Nestle launched an entire frozen meal line built around supporting people on the drugs. And Walmart, the largest grocery retailer in the country, literally reported to investors that GLP-1 users were buying measurably less food in their stores. Ladies and gentlemen, buckle up because we are entering the Ozempic economy, a time where brands are shifting their marketing, menus, and even business models, not because they care, but because they have to. Roughly 1 in 8 adults are currently using GLP-1 drugs for weight loss. That is millions of Americans eating less food. And here's the thing, a huge part of the food industry is built on volume. More snacking, bigger portion sizes, buy 3 bags of chips, get 2 free. GLP-1 drugs mess with all of that, and it is causing brands to panic and adapt. The adapting part sounds good in theory, right? We can all agree if big food wants to make their products healthier, that is generally a good thing. But are they actually doing that, or just slapping a fancy logo on a box of cereal and calling it a day? Well, that's one of the many things we're digging into today. We're going to
So this is the new vibe right here. The new vibe is GLP-1 foods. Yeah. The new vibe is GLP-1 foods, which is crazy. Crazy, crazy, crazy. But it's not crazy if y'all have the comedic meteorology book. If you have the comedic meteorology book, you will know, you will be able to just see this in advance, like, oh, okay, yeah, this is normally scheduled programming right here. This is right on time, right? This is right on time. The alkaline, the alkalines and all of those different, the vegan, the plant-based, the vegan turned into plant-based, the plant-based done fizzled down. Paleo done fizzled down. They even wrestling hard trying to get the keto promotions back up. They done came out with keto vitamins. It's all fizzling down. Now we got the GLP-1 food menus. When you go to restaurants now, where you would normally see the vegan diet, vegan entrees, this, that, and the other, now you got GLP-1. And then listen, it just is a matter of when you came into this culture, but before then, you will remember seeing heart healthy sections on the menu. Before it was a vegan thing, it was a heart healthy thing. You had certain places had the weight, fat-free menu, weight loss menu. Some places even ventured into deals and had Weight Watchers menus, and all these things come and go. They are a part of the cyclical nature of marketing, promo, and diet scams.
follow the money, expose the marketing, and figure out who in this space is actually trying and who's just hoping you don't flip the box around. All that plus Oprah, a few lawsuits waiting to happen, and something even called fiber maxing. Let's get into it. The year was 1984. Apple launched the first Macintosh computer, Ronald Reagan won his second term, and scientists discovered a hormone in the human gut called GLP-1. GLP-1 lowers blood sugar and essentially tells your brain you're full. Cool discovery in 1984. Scientists discovered a hormone in the human gut. The year was 1984. Apple launched the first Macintosh computer, Ronald Reagan won his second term, and scientists discovered a hormone in the human gut called GLP-1. GLP-1 lowers blood sugar and essentially tells your...
Chill, bro. That's crazy. I guess this is why people sent me this video. 1984 is crazy all by itself. All right, shout out to the book Champion. Shout out to the book champion. He's the new heavyweight book champion in here. We done went through the Osborne era, the Tika era, the Paul era, and now we have the new heavyweight champion of books in the world. Man, you know what? I actually have somebody really trying to help me with that right now. So I appreciate that. I've been giving them a hard time too. So that right there, that I might need to be a little bit more patient with that concept. You said the comedic meteorology book got you in monk mode. I like what you did with that. The comedic meteorology. For y'all that don't know, the monk mode is a book in and of itself. So I like how you did that, Tyrese, with the comedic naturopathy book. I mean, the comedic meteorology book got you in monk mode. I like that. Yeah, I like that. Okay, no. See, listen. I know you talking about something totally different. You talking about what we've been, that's what we've been doing. The GLP1 is that, you know what's crazy? It's hard for me to even take it serious. When I introduce a concept to the world, and everybody think that I'm just playing or making it up or it's not that serious, and nobody wants to talk about it. Like nobody wants to talk about it. And then all of a sudden 5 years go by and it's like $1 billion thing. And then everybody wants to ask me about it. Yo, I'm dead. But pigment and fiber is all the GLP, like that's it. A high pigment, high fiber diet is a GLP. Like what we're going to see during this video is not that. Definitely appreciate that. And I miss y'all when I'm not live.
Brain, you're full. Cool discovery in 19. Ronald Reagan won his second term, and scientists discovered first Macintosh computer. The year was 1984. Apple launched the first Macintosh computer. Ronald Reagan won his second term, and scientists discovered a hormone in the human gut called GLP1. GLP1 lowers blood sugar and essentially tells your brain you're full. Cool discovery in 1984, but there was a problem. In your body, it breaks down in just about 2 minutes. Too fast to actually be useful in medicine. Then, in 1992, an endocrinologist named John Ang was studying Gila monster venom. Yes, venom from the Gila monster, which, as we all know, is the only venomous lizard in North America. Obviously. But anyways, John found something wild. The lizard produced a hormone almost identical to human GLP-1, except it stuck around for hours. It was a massive discovery. Scientists took that, recreated it in a lab, and eventually built a twice-daily injection. Years later, Novo Nordisk then redefined it into a once-weekly shot, and by 2017, the FDA approved it under the name Ozempic. When Ozempic came out, it was not a weight loss drug. It was approved specifically to treat type 2 diabetes. But as more people started using it, patients were losing significant amounts of weight as a side effect. And so doctors started prescribing it off-label. Off-label means using an FDA-approved medication for a purpose FDA hasn't specifically approved it for. It's not illegal. Doctors actually do it all the time. But because insurance companies only cover approved use, getting something like Ozempic for weight loss meant paying out of pocket, which is why the real floodgates opened in 2021 when the FDA approved Wegovy. This was essentially the same medication, but at a higher dose, specifically designed and marketed for chronic weight management. This was the green light the world was waiting for, and it turned a medical discovery into a cultural phenomenon overnight. For a while, it felt like every celebrity on the red carpet had suddenly undergone a transformation, but nobody wanted to say the word Ozempic yet. It was the industry's worst kept secret. Chelsea Handler admitted she was on it without even realizing what it was, because apparently her doctor just handed it to her like it was a vitamin. Amy Schumer was one of the few people who actually called out the culture of secrecy. And then there was the Oprah situation. Yeah, that's right. Oprah situation. Nobody illustrates the absolute chaos of this transition better than Oprah Winfrey. For decades, Oprah was the face of the traditional weight loss industry, specifically through her massive partnership with Weight Watchers. She owned 10% of the company and sat on their board, basically acting as the high priestess of counting points. But in 2023, Weight Watchers bought a telehealth company called Sequence, so they could start prescribing these drugs themselves. Oprah stepped down from the board and donated her shares to avoid the appearance of a conflict of interest. It was basically a complete surrender of the old way of doing things. This whole thing was bizarre, but perfectly sets the stage for...
Yeah, see, y'all need to get the y'all need to get our family series, because y'all are missing some of these stories in the family series. We went deep into pharmacia or big pharma, going through influencers, actors, politicians, etc., to be able to market directly to the consumer. Like, it's a whole different, you needed to, y'all needed to go through those. Y'all might have missed something if y'all missed those family books. Let me show y'all what I'm talking about. Okay, hold on. All right. Okay, let me see. Inky Real. Children. Nope. Interesting. Wow, it doesn't even come up. Okay, here goes one of them right here. Okay, bam. Here goes one of them right here. What are you doing right now? Okay. Okay, so here goes one, right? King Solomon's Crisis in Kemet, right? King Solomon's Elephantine Island Secret. And then we have Black's Anatomy for Children, Pulling Your Own Weight, and the Jew. And then we have Black's Anatomy for Children, Babalao versus the Masked Man. Like, in those books, we go into these actual stories. And it's funny how when we go into the stories in the book, or even sometimes in the video, people may miss it. And then we come back later on and you don't realize we already addressed maybe something that you might be asking me to address, like this.
For where we are today in the Ozempic economy story. We're watching massive brands go through a full-blown identity crisis because the world they spent decades building just doesn't exist anymore. The irony is that for some, this desperate pivot is actually backfiring. Weight Watchers tried to shed its skin and become a pharmaceutical middleman, and the market responded by sending their stock price off a cliff. But this is the new reality. Brands have to account for cultural changes. GLP-1 is here. There's a rise of people losing weight and eating less. And of course, a boatload of daily grinders focusing on fitness and wellness. Speaking of the daily grind, this video is sponsored by Trade Coffee. I don't know about you, but when spring comes around, I love switching things up. And the easiest upgrade to my morning routine I found is stepping up my coffee game using Trade. Trade is a on health for a multitude of reasons, and GLP-1 is the icing on the cake. Brands must adapt. The issue is how they're doing that and what's focusing on health for a multitude of reasons.
Let's just slow it down right here and look at this bag. The global wellness economy. Now, this is important. Excuse me. This is important because I want y'all to understand a part of the motivation for Trump. Right now, y'all see RFK. RFK been out there in the health fringes. That's why I respect RFK. He been on the health, doing this health thing for a minute. So his motivations go beyond finance. But when I say Trump, I really mean government in this instance. So I don't want to necessarily center it on Trump. But when you have politicians, I'll use the word politicians. When you have politicians, that's what I'm saying. That part, that's what I'm saying, Kev. When you have politicians, they may not really understand why we need to eat real food or why we need to prioritize children learning how their body works or moving from Newtonian physics to quantum mechanics or some of the things that we might talk about and take for granted in our small circles, especially on the internet. But when they see these numbers, they go, oh, wait a minute. It's $7 trillion floating around and we're not getting our full taste of that. You got 300 billion on mental wellness. 300 billion on mental wellness. Right? Like then you got this new thing over here, traditional and complementary medicine. Right? So obviously traditional medicine is not a new thing, but complementary medicine. Complementary medicine is just one of the new names that they will be using to how do I want to say, to steal, to take over the naturopathic space, right? The holistic space. They will be the same way they did in Kemet. Remember, Kemet was not taken over with force. Kemet was taken over with the ink pen. All they did was rename some things, and all of a sudden, overnight, it was a new place with new ownership. So all they have to do is rename holistic concepts or naturopathic concepts, and overnight, whoever came up with that new name gets to own a whole branch of science that may already have been hundreds or thousands of years old. So complementary medicine is one of those new terms that will be more popularly used. Public health, prevention, and personalized medicine, $676 billion. Now let's look at the big boys. We're going to start with wellness tourism. Wellness tourism right? People who are just tapping into health stuff just because, right? That's just under the mark. The mark is 1,000 billion. That's where the big boys is at. So we just giving wellness tourism an honorable mention, right? And then we're starting off with the official big boys, right? Personal care and beauty. Now, mind you, I want you to take a look at this, because when you go into health and beauty places and all that, a lot of times they like to say on the package how long they've been around as a company. Oh, for 50 years we've been doing this, this, and this. Well, you got to think to yourself, how have they been surviving the trends? Simple. Changing the packaging. Changing the packaging. So like right now, you're going to notice a lot of people are adding GLP wording to their packaging. It's the exact same food. It's the exact same food. They're just going to add GLP to the packaging because that's something that people's interested in, right? Physical activity. Physical activity. Now, once upon a time, like many people at home, once upon a time, I thought physical activity meant exercise. But trust you me, since I've been in these classes lately, I know that this is where the money is at, because they're making a big, big, big point of stressing going forward the difference between physical activity and the term exercise. And there's a reason for that, because they're going to attack that money right there. So the physical activity money is going to double, and the healthy eating, nutrition, and weight loss is going to double. It's going to double. And when you see 1,000 billion, that means 1 trillion. So those are going to double in the next couple of years. And it's going to double because they're going to open up these categories. So physical activity is going to grow into a multitude of other categories. Physical activity will break down into physical activity, recreation, exercise, and then something like prescription movement, or prescribed functional something or other. It's going to be something to that effect, where there's going to be a medical, there are going to be medical terms that will be added into the exercise space. Same exact thing is going to happen with the food. Same exact thing is going to happen with the food. So the books have just quadrupled in value. The books have just quadrupled in value because the thing that they're counting on everybody to be is a lot dumber. And that is already happening.
And GLP-1 is the icing on the cake. Brands must adapt. The issue is how they're doing that and whether they're doing that at all. And that's nowhere more prevalent than with fast food brands. Let's play a little game. Imagine for a second you were the CEO of a fast food company. You were sitting in your big leather chair, staring at a spreadsheet that shows your customers are suddenly buying way less food because they're on a drug that makes them physically repulsed by grease. What do? Do you go with option A and spend billions of dollars to fundamentally overhaul your entire global supply chain so you can start selling actual nutrient-dense, healthy food? Or do you go with option B and just rebrand your old products to appear healthy so you can keep those profit margins nice and fat? Well, if you answered A, you'd be classified as a terrible CEO and would probably be fired. In the entire global supply chain so you could start selling actual nutrient. Customers are suddenly buying way less food because they're on a drug that makes them physically repulsed by grease. What do? Customers are suddenly buying way less food because they're on a drug that makes them physically repulsed by grease. Because they're on a drug that makes them physically repulsed by grease. Because they're on a drug that makes them physically repulsed by grease. Because they're on a drug that makes them physically repulsed by grease. What do?
Yo, it's crazy how accurate our material be. This is pre-Amazon era. In fact, I'm gonna have to drop a little reminder. I'm gonna have to drop a little reminder. Remember, I said that it was the actual grease put in urban communities specifically to destroy people's health. The grease. Because nowhere else besides the hood do you find places where they selling grease, like fried this, fried that, fried places. Like that is for the hood. Fried places where they package grease. See, you're thinking of the French fry. I don't think of the French fry. I just think of the packaged grease. The fry is a way they're packaging grease to you. The fish, fried fish, is a way they're packaging grease to you. You see what I'm saying? Like they're packaging grease to you. It's a very, very tricky thing to use grease. And remember, we're oil-based creatures. I mean, we're water-based creatures. So it's interesting how oil plays a role in our decline. So anyway, it's funny how we just came full circle, and now, you know, a side effect of this side effect driven medicine, a side effect of the side effect driven medicine, because remember, this is a side effect driven medicine, right? This is diabetes medicine that has a side effect of massive weight loss. It has a side effect of making you not want to eat greasy foods. Right? So the side effects is healthier than the main purpose almost, right? But it's just interesting how the side effect is you don't want to have greasy food, you know, like you have to get in front of this information.
Do you go with option A and spend billions of dollars buying way less food because they're on a drug that makes them physically repulsed by grease? What do? Do you go with option A and spend billions of dollars to fundamentally overhaul your entire global supply chain so you can start selling actual nutrient-dense, healthy food? Or do you go with option B and just rebrand your old products to appear healthy so you can keep those profit margins nice and fat? Well, the answer today, you'd be classified as a terrible CEO and would probably be fired. In the Ozempic economy, survival is rarely about making a better product. It's often about being better at marketing. And one of the easiest things to market in this economy is protein. Protein signals discipline, fitness, optimization, and all the stuff modern health culture loves. But what you might not know is people on GLP1s are constantly told to prioritize protein, partially because it helps with fullness, and partially because when you lose weight quickly, you also risk losing muscle. And food brands figured that out fast. For years, dining at Mickey D's was considered unhealthy. But as of March 20th, eating their chicken.
And this is a chink in the armor. This is a chink in the armor because the same studies that shows weight loss and calorie this, that, and the other also shows that, and it's a bunch of studies, but it shows that you lose potential time, and not just time off of your life, but you also lose quality of life when you lose strength. So it's not worth it to lose weight if you're going to lose X amount of muscle. You have to have, this is where the education comes in. This is where the education comes. You have to know what you're doing.
Chicken strips is comparable to eating protein bars, at least fast. For years, dining at Mickey D's was considered unhealthy, but as of March 20th, eating their chicken strips is comparable to eating protein bars, at least according to McDonald's Twitter. Now, don't get me wrong, 40 grams of protein at 460 calories is reasonable, especially because, you know, it's just chicken, but 20 protein, partially because it helps with fullness and partially because loves. But what you might not know is people on GLP1s are constantly told to prioritize protein, partially because it helps with fullness and partially because when you lose weight quickly, you also risk losing muscle. And food brands figured that out fast. For years, dining at Mickey D's was considered unhealthy, but as of March 20th, eating their chicken strips is comparable to eating protein bars. Loves. But what you might not know is people on GLP1s are constantly told to prioritize compensation and all the stuff modern health culture loves. But
yo, y'all better not say nothing about Drake.
what you might not know is people on GLP-1s are constantly told to prioritize protein, partially because it helps with fullness, and partially because when you lose weight quickly, you also risk losing muscle. And food brands figured that out fast. For years, dining at Mickey D's was considered unhealthy, but as of March 20th, eating their chicken strips is comparable to eating protein bars, at least according to McDonald's Twitter. Now, don't get me wrong, 40 grams of protein at 460 calories is reasonable, especially because, you know, it's just chicken. But 23 grams of fat with 1,400 milligrams of sodium is not. McDonald's really wants to sell this high protein idea to you. So much so, they've partnered with influencers to showcase how much protein their products have. This influencer in particular has been incredibly forward about her GLP-1 use. And guess what? McDonald's saw that and sponsored her to talk about their high protein options. And look, I want to be extra direct here. I'm not criticizing Stefania for being open about her diet or her weight loss journey. My issue is not with her. What I am criticizing is the fact that McDonald's saw a wellness creator with a GLP-1 audience and thought, perfect, let's use that to sell fast food. That is weird. When someone builds a platform or wellness creator, McDonald's saw that protein their products have. This influencer in particular has been incredibly forward about her GLP-1 use. And guess what? McDonald's saw that and sponsored her to talk about their high protein options. And look, I want to be extra direct here. I'm not criticizing Stefania for being open about her diet or her weight loss journey. My issue is not with her. What I am criticizing is the fact that McDonald's saw a wellness creator with a GLP-1 audience and thought, perfect, let's use that to sell fast food. That is weird. When someone builds a platform around transforming their health through diet and exercise and then takes a McDonald's sponsorship, the irony is worth pointing out. Moreover, I think it's strange that wellness and fitness creators are partnering with fast food brands, period, because a lot of the people turning to wellness content for motivation have a complicated relationship with fast food. And while some people can work toward moderation, some can't. Research shows that people who regularly consume fast food have a 20 to 129% increased risk of obesity compared to non-consumers. That is not.
Yo, that's crazy how far ahead of my time I was. I'm gonna have to dig up my burger eating clip from McDonald's and put that back on the internet. Yo, I'm truly am the GOAT.
A small number. So yeah, this is all very weird, and I believe it's fair to point out. So while McDonald's doesn't have a dedicated GLP-1 menu, it's not a coincidence that their CEO said they were paying attention to GLP-1 users and then suddenly started marketing how much protein is in their food through influencers, tweets, and blog articles. And McDonald's is far from the only one doing this. Starbucks has done something similar when they launched their protein menu, putting a combo of whey protein and 2% milk into their coffee and matcha. And just like McDonald's, they partnered with a wave of influencers to sell you on these protein-packed products. When these launched, social media was flooded with photos and videos reviewing these protein lattes, and they all looked pretty gross. I can't help but wonder if Starbucks wanted to start sponsoring people so that those videos would show up versus the other videos. But regardless, at least these lattes are healthy, right? Well, not really. If you order any of the regular non-sugar-free drinks, it's pretty crazy. One grande caramel protein latte clocks in at a whopping 37 grams of added sugar. And, you know, we all love the white stuff, but that's a lot of added sugar, especially for something that's being marketed as healthy. And then, of course, we have Subway, a brand that has spent the last decade trying to outrun its own complicated history with weight loss spokespeople. Well, guess what? They're jumping headfirst into the Ozempic economy too. They recently launched something called Protein Pockets. If you spend any time on foodie you probably have seen influencers holding these up like they're some kind of holy relic of protein and fitness. These creators talk about them as if Subway just discovered the concept of amino acids for the first time. While their protein pockets are not necessarily unhealthy, and they're certainly healthier than a lot of other fast food items, the marketing is just marketing. For example, their regular rotisserie style chicken 6-inch sub actually has fewer calories, half the fat, and about the same amount of protein as their new Baja chicken protein pocket. There really is no significant difference between ordering certain regular menu items and these new protein pockets. And those are just a few light examples. Some brands are way more forward about what they're doing here and who they're trying to target.
Respectfully, I ain't gonna lie. I feel like somebody should say pause after protein pocket. I just don't even know why. It just gives me that. Yeah, it just rubs me the wrong. Wait, rubs me the wrong way might also be crazy in context. Yeah, back to the video.
In December 2025, Shake Shack introduced its new Good Fit menu, and unlike Starbucks or Subway, they did not dance around it. In the company's own words, their menu is designed to include high-protein, gluten-free, vegetarian, and yes, GLP-1 choices. But here's the funny part. The Good Fit menu is not really some revolutionary new line of food. They took their same burgers and chicken sandwiches and just swapped buns for lettuce wraps, highlighted the protein numbers, and repackaged the whole thing to sell to you. Now, to be fair, some of these swaps probably are better for certain people. Cutting carbs, shrinking portions, and making it easier to find higher protein options is not inherently a bad thing, but it is not exactly innovation. Smoothie King is probably the best example of all of this. In October 2024, the company launched an actual GLP support menu. They called themselves the first national quick service chain to introduce a menu specifically created to assist millions of Americans taking prescription GLP-1 drugs. The smoothies were marketed around the exact language you would expect. High protein, rich in fiber, nutrient dense, all the buzzwords, all the hits. That sounds amazing. Let's take a look at these special GLP-1 smoothies and compare them to their counterparts. Here we have the Gladiator GLP-1 vanilla smoothie, and here we have the regular Gladiator vanilla smoothie. Oh, sorry, something isn't working here. Let's try it again. I said, here is the GLP-1 version, and here's the regular. Oh my God, they're the same thing. Well, surely this can't be. Well, what about the Keto Champ GLP-1 chocolate versus the regular Keto Champ chocolate? Oh my God.
Yo, listen, Every day we hustling out here in these streets. So I want y'all to pay attention. Now, this is why this is super funny for me. Not just the obvious, right? Because if you notice it, the switch happens from here to here, right? This is already Scammy Davis Jr. crazy, right? But when you go here, it gets even crazier, right? Because notice they still running the last hustle with the new hustle now, right? So the last hustle was Keto Champ. Now, mind you, this same chocolate smoothie, yo, listen, this same chocolate smoothie was just the regular chocolate smoothie. Listen, this was the regular chocolate smoothie before people got, start asking, y'all don't have nothing for keto? Y'all ain't got nothing for keto? Y'all ain't got nothing for keto? So they said, all right, cool. This is what we're going to do. We're going to put out the keto smoothie. Now, the keto smoothie is just the regular chocolate smoothie. So now these same people that's running around, this is the problem I have, because a lot of y'all is doing this to me. Y'all running around with all these Dr. Inky books and y'all fat as hell. We got to work on that. Okay. So you're running, you look, the keto people, now they done start running in there saying y'all ain't got nothing for GLP1. Now, at some point along the lines, somebody should have been looking for some results, right? Because the whole idea of a chocolate smoothie, right? It goes before keto, because the chocolate smoothies was to replace how much people was hooked on chocolate milkshakes, right? And the chocolate smoothie was supposed to be the healthier version of the chocolate milkshake, so people could stop being overweight, lower their risk for diabetes and blah, blah, blah. But that didn't work. So then another wave came in, and another wave came in, and then the keto wave came in. So now they add keto to the name. Now another wave has came in, GLP1. So now they leaving the keto name on there and adding GLP1 to the keto name. Oh my God. My bad. I'm sorry. I apologize. This be funny to me though. Dang, and that's crazy. The fiber didn't.
It's the same thing again.
Look at this. The amount of fiber didn't even change. If you're gonna add GLP1 on there, it should be at least a little bit more fiber. That's wild.
Smoothie King, what are you doing? Most of the GLP-1 smoothies are no different than the regular smoothies on the menu. There are no secret ingredients hidden in the blender. The recipe and the base are the same. When I look this up, other people complain about this, and the only apparent difference I could find for these smoothies is that the normal versions lets you add things like peanut butter or bananas, while the GLP-1 versions guide you towards other options. But when you go to order these smoothies on their website, they're presented exactly the same. You can do that for either smoothie. So it's essentially the exact same product, but with different marketing. So do you notice the pattern here? The GOP-friendly fast food revolution is, in many cases, not about brands suddenly caring about your health. It's just them advertising their products differently. Take away some buns, highlight the protein amount, add some fiber, and suddenly your old product gets to cosplay as part of a medical lifestyle plan. What a hilarious and annoying world we live in. But listen, we know most fast food brands usually don't care about our health or wellness. But what about some buns, highlight the protein amount, add some fiber, and suddenly your old product gets to cosplay as part of a medical lifestyle plan? What buns, highlight the protein amount, add some fiber, and suddenly your old product gets to cosplay as part of a medical lifestyle plan? What cosplay as part of a medical lifestyle plan? 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 What hilarious and annoying.
That's because they have the comedic meteorology information. They have the information. They understand, like, oh, okay, we're getting ready to go through a new loop. But this is going to be a long loop right here.
protein amount, add some fiber, and suddenly your old product gets to cosplay as part of a medical lifestyle plan. What a hilarious and like a protein amount, add some fiber, and suddenly your old product gets to cosplay as part of a medical lifestyle plan.
A medical lifestyle plan. I'm trying to tell y'all something. I'm trying to tell y'all something. The same way I was telling the world about GLP1 before anybody, and when I say anybody mentioned it, anybody. It was the world's best kept secret. I was like, well, we got the purple phase. We got the purple phase. Folks was like, yeah, but it make my skin tingly. And, you know, yeah, that's because it's a lot of vitamin B3. That's cool. You need that. I'm not sure, Doc. All right. Not only did the drugs hit, it's a cultural thing now. You got singers, athletes, dancers, politicians, TV show hosts, everybody playing their part because they understand what's coming in the future. They understand what's on the... He know it too. This, whoever this guy is. That's why he's using the appropriate language.
Buns, highlight the protein amount, add some fiber, and suddenly your old product gets to cosplay as part of a medical lifestyle plan. What a hilarious and annoying world we live in. But listen, we know most fast food brands usually don't care about our health or wellness. But what about household food items? Well, if you think the drive-thru is getting weird, you should see what is happening in grocery store aisles. A recent Cornell University study found that within the first 6 months of starting a GLP-1 medication, households reduced their grocery spending by an average of 5.3%. Among higher income households, the drop was even steeper, at more than 8%. And the biggest casualties? Savory snacks, sweets, cookies, and baked goods, down nearly 10%. So just like fast food, these brands are taking a hit. And what exactly are they doing? Well, shoving protein down our throats. There's protein pasta, protein chips, protein Snickers bars, protein cereal, protein pancakes, and even protein-infused water. But I really want to highlight this one specific example just because of how ridiculous it is. Kellanova, the company you probably know better as Kellogg's, the snack giant behind Pringles, Cheez-Its, and Pop-Tarts, makes exactly the kind of ultra-processed snacks health-conscious consumers are cutting first. So what was their answer to the GLP-1 era? Protein Pop-Tarts. Available in flavors like Slam and Strawberry and Boost in Brown Sugar Cinnamon, which are real product names that an adult signed off on. They're marketing these as a bold innovation for people looking for a protein boost on the go. I mean, look at how large the word protein is labeled on the box. Surely this must be a healthy snack. Well, the actual math here is incredible. A serving of these new protein boosted Pop-Tarts, which is 2 pastries, comes out to 380 calories, only 10 grams of protein, and 30 grams of sugar. Not only is this an extremely high amount of sugar, but per calorie, that's an awfully low amount of protein. For reference, a 100-gram chicken breast contains 165 calories and 31 grams of protein. Meaning
Yo, I'm dead. The protein Pop-Tarts is crazy. The protein Pop-Tarts is crazy.
Well, here is one of the X-ray generators we're using in this work. We use X-rays to study the structure of a molecule because an X-ray travels along like this in a wavy kind of way, and the length of the waves of the X-rays are about equal to the distance between the atoms in a molecule. So that when an X-ray strikes the molecule, the waves of the X-rays can squeeze in between the atoms, and when they come out the other side, their directions are deviated. And from the deviation of the X-rays, we can work out the way in which the atoms are arranged inside the molecule. On the X-ray set, here is the X-ray tube, and here are 2 X-ray cameras. And inside the X-ray cameras, we have little specimens of DNA, which have been sent from Dr. Eprusi, who's just been speaking to you from Paris, or from Dr. Hamilton in New York. The X-rays come out like this and hit the specimens of DNA, and after several days exposure, we get an X-ray picture which looks like this. These spots show the direction in which the X-rays have been deviated. And from this kind of data, we are able to work out the structure of the DNA molecule. The main thing we find is that the molecule is a sort of corkscrew arrangement. It goes up along its length like this. But we don't know all the details. And in this kind of work, what we want is a sort of inspired guess. Inspired guess. And then inspired guess. And then to inspired guess. And then to work backwards with the X-rays from the inspired guess. Inspired.
Dr. Inky just discovered the spirit code, how breath becomes life.
Big breakthrough in genetics today. I'm going to explain what the Encyclopedia for DNA Elements, the ENCODE project, means for human genetics with the help of my trusty ping pong balls, some string, bit of tape, a few paper clips, and some cherry tomatoes. Right, here we have a section of human DNA, the human genome. The blacked out ping pong balls are bits of DNA that we previously didn't know what they did, and the red bits here by tomatoes are genes. Now, a decade ago, the Human Genome Project gave us a complete list of the 3 billion letters that make up human genetic code. And people said at the time that we had the Book of Life. Now, it turned out it was harder to read than we expected. When we looked at all these genes and all the DNA, scientists found only 20,000 genes, and that makes up about 2 to 3% of all our DNA. The question became, what does the rest of this DNA do? In this model, the black balls. It was mysterious. People didn't know what it was. They actually called it the genomic dark matter, the dark matter of the genome, or worse still, junk DNA. For a while, scientists weren't sure if it did anything at all. Thanks to the ENCODE project, we now know what most of our DNA does. These newly revealed regions, the white ping pong balls, these are sections of DNA highlighted by the ENCODE project. Their role is to control what happens with our genes. And in this analogy, I'm using the cherry tomatoes. So the majority of our DNA is not making proteins to build our cells and such like. What it's actually doing is controlling how these genes work. That might mean they're acting as switches to turn them off and turn them on, and where and when in the body that happens. Or they may act like volume controls, turning a gene up, turning a gene down a little bit. So what use is all of this? Well, first off, it will help scientists understand how our genes operate in our bodies. These switches are incredibly crucial to what genes are doing in our bodies, and they will make the difference, for example, between how our body makes a liver cell as opposed to a kidney cell. Perhaps more importantly, the ENCODE project will help understand what goes wrong in scores of diseases where there's some genetic element. Now, scientists have already used the ENCODE data to identify 400 of these switches in the genome, which feed through into diseases and other medical problems. And that is surely just the beginning of it.
Dr. Inky just discovered the spirit code, how breath becomes life.
From the sky, my cells, now the story been told. The greatest discovery, we found the spirit code. Went to the water, now the fire in my bones. Stars in my lungs, now I'm never alone. From the breath to the flesh, watch the energy unfold. The cure for the world is the spirit code. Light in my veins, got my whole body glowing. Every cell alive, feel the current keep flowing. From the heavens to the earth, now the truth getting bold. Life from the breath is the spirit code. We were made from the wave, now the wave take control. Turn the dark into light, turn the broken door. It's the sound of
Dr. Inky just discovered the spirit code, how breath becomes life.
Discovery, it's the spirit code, written in the light. Within my lungs turn dark into bright. Energy to flesh, waves into soul. Oh, the greatest discovery. We crack the spirit code, moving through the breath. Light in my blood, pushing back death. Electric soul, body reload. The cure for the world is In the beginning wasn't matter, it was waves first. Light hit the water, then the air burst. Wind started spinning up the minerals. Electrons dancing, now it's physical. Sun hit the oceans, chemistry sparked. Oxygen weighted, electrons in the dark. Proton gradients forming in the tide. Before DNA, life was energized. Now pigments catching photons from the sky. Melanin drinking sunlight, that's why. Mitochondria spinning like turbines. ATP building what time bends. Genes ain't the boss, they just storage. Mirroring and moving like cosmic informants. Piece of tissues turning pressure to current. Body made a waves, now we learning.
Breathe in the light, I can feel it in my soul. Electric in my blood, and my body turning gold. From the sky to my cells, now the story been told. The greatest discovery, we found the spirit code. Into the water, now the fire in my bones. Stars in my lungs, now I'm never alone. From the breath to the flesh, watch the energy unfold. The cure for the world. It's the spirit code. Light in my veins, got my whole body glowing. Every cell alive, feel the current keep flowing. From the heavens to the earth, now the truth getting bold. Life from the breath, it's the spirit code. We were made from the wave, not a wave, take control. Turn the dark into light, turn the broke into whole. It's the sound of the future, let the whole world know. Greatest discovery, it's the spirit code. Spirit code, written in the light. Rhythm my lungs turn dark into bright. Energy of flash, waves into soul. Greatest discovery, we crack the spirit code. Spirit code, moving through the breath. Light in my blood, pushing back the electric soul. Body really low, the cure for the world.
Yeah.
It's the spirit.
Oxygen
Dr. Inky just discovered the spirit code, how breath becomes light.
carrying light through the blood flow. Electrons moving out of cells glow. Collagen winds faster you transmit. Heart feel broadcasting, body emit. Fast stores energy, slows the vibration. Lean body faster, communication, less energy flow. Longer lifespan, calorie deficit, that's the master plan. Spirit ain't magic, it's energy flow. Light to electron, now the body grow. Pigments receiving signals from stars. Piezoelectric bones turn movement to charge. Now we see disease, ain't random or fate. It's broken signals, gradients and states. Fix the light, breath, fuel, and cold. Chronic disease collapse, spirit code.
From the cosmos to the cell, from the breath to living well, from the light to DNA, spirit built the human way. Breathe in the light, I can feel it in my soul. Electric in my blood, and my body turning gold. From the sky to my cells, now the story been told. Greatest discovery, we found the spirit code. Into the water, now the fire in my bones. Stars in my lungs, now I'm never alone. From the breath to the flesh, watch the energy unfold. The cure for the world, it's the spirit code. Light in my veins, got my whole body glowing. Every cell alive, feel the current keep flowing. From the heavens to the earth, now the truth getting bold. Life from the breath, it's the spirit code. We were made from the wave, now the wave take control. Turn the dark into light, turn the broke into whole. It's the sound of the future, let the whole world know. Greatest discovery, it's the spirit code. Spirit code, written in the light. Breathing my lungs turn dark into bright. Energy to flesh, waves into soul. Greatest discovery, we cracked the spirit code. Spirit code, moving through the breath. Light in my blood, pushing back that electric soul. Body reload, the cure for the world is the spirit code. Spirit code. Written in the light.
All right, so yeah. I gotta shout out my man Hard One. I appreciate that. But listen, that's what this whole thing is coming down to. That's what the whole thing is coming down to. Like, God breathing the breath, breathing the breath, breathing the breath, right? And so that had to account for. So here's what we did in the last, I want to say maybe 6 months, last 9 months maybe. In the last 9 months or so, we throw the or so on there. Last 9 months or so, what we did was we the first thing we did, I think, was we expanded the notion or the concept of code, like human code anyway. So that's why I think this book is important to people to have. This book. I mean, all of the Black's Anatomy books, but this book here, where we put AI solves the theory of evolution problem. A lot of people read the core of that and they don't understand what's in the book. When they read AI solved the theory of evolution, because they don't know me, maybe they're thinking like John Q. Public may have typed in to AI like, hey, solve the evolution problem. And then AI used its infinite capacity and just typed out the answer. Boop, here's the answer to, the debate, the raging debate that's been going on for thousands of years about, evolution, or hundreds of years anyway in its current form. No. What we're talking about in this book is AI solves the evolution question, because AI runs on 6 codes. There are 6 codes that are interwoven in between each other. They're codependent on each other, right? 6 codependent codes are required for AI to run, right? And the reason why, we break it down in detail in this book, the reason why I say AI solved the evolution problem is because AI has 6 codes that's required for AI to run. And AI is running without a physical body, right? So 6 codes is required for AI. Well, guess what? All 6 of those codes are identical to codes that are running in the human body. And so the reason why I say AI solves the evolution problem is simple. The 6 codes required for AI to run are also required for people to run. The question of evolution comes down to, is there a creator required to create the 6 codes? All of science tells us, yes, there is no sort of code making without intelligent designers, and codes require intelligent designers. So when you take 6 complex codes that are interdependent, meaning the 6 codes make up one larger code, it's not possible to have been created without an intelligent designer. Well, AI solves that problem because it gives us another entity to discuss on that situation. The only thing is, we know who the designer of AI is. It's us, right? So in that space, AI effectively solves the question on evolution because we know that there are a variety of codes that are required for human existence, not just one. It's not the 64 codon, the 64 codon thing.
Dr. Inky just discovered the spirit code, how breath becomes life.
Spirit code, the living flow of my inner glow. Spirit code, latest glow, fitness show, getting dope. Spirit code. All you gotta do is live it, bro. Emotion, mental, physique, oh. MTHFR, flip folate, activate the form. MTR, bring it back, homocysteine transform. MTRR, keep B12 cycling through. BHMT backup route. When the liver come through, CBS, push sulfur, glutathione.
So in a lot of the Black's anatomy books, right, we spend a lot of time on that. Like that in and of itself is a monumental discovery. So we spent a good amount of time talking about the 6 different codes, what they are, right? What they are, how they work, and the right? As usual, I think I was so far ahead of people that obviously they didn't really know what they was looking at, but I'm sure you guys remember seeing this slide, right? I'm sure you guys remember seeing this slide, right? And I said, here we go, we start right here, blah, 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 blah. Every functioning AI stack has layered anatomy, a tokenizer, an architecture grammar of transformations, a training regimen that writes parameters, persistent memory, a runtime inference engine, and an operations layer, right? This is standard, right? So anybody that's learning about AI and all that, or you could just look it up. We've done it a few times to just show, But here's where our discovery came in when we realized that this is a direct mirror of what we have going on inside the human body, right? So your codons is really just the initial code so what we thought was the complete understanding of the DNA, that was just the tokenizer. That was just the tokenizer. And I don't want to say just and take off some of the, magnificence or magnitude of, understanding what the DNA code is. But that's just the beginning. Like that's the grammar school. Grammar. That would be elementary school in the world of, understanding how the body works, understanding the DNA that's nuclear DNA specifically. That's elementary. That's elementary. That's not even going, like, that's elementary level of understanding, right? Getting up to the point to where we start to understand the rest of these different codes, how they work in our body, and then how they are integrated right? That is the next level. That is the next level. And that is where everybody is playing right now. All the smart people, the big companies, they all are invested in learning that. Meanwhile, they have everybody else on GLP, TRT, and protein. That's the world people. So this is how people are getting dumber. When it should be news, like it should have been news that the DNA information was wrong, right? You still got goofballs. Let me see if I can find the main goofball on the internet. Let me see if I can find this guy real quick. What's his name? Here we go. Okay, let me get to this. Hold up.
That is 99.5% identical DNA does.
Yep. I'm Danica Patrick, and I'm pretty intense.
Chimpanzees 99.5% identical DNA does.
Yep.
Okay? Yep. So why do they have every muscle and every bone in the same place that we do? 1.5% identical DNA does.
Yep.
Okay?
Yep. Patrick, and I'm pretty intense.
Chimpanzees 99.5% identical DNA does.
Yep.
Okay? Yep. So why do they have every muscle and every bone in the same place that we do?
Yep.
They're comfortable, you cross your legs. They're comfortable crossing their legs, sitting there and leaning on a thing. They have an itch, they scratch it. Want to cough, they cough. Okay. Except they like termites and bees. Okay.
It's all kind of clips, shorts, videos, and interviews where he's still promoting these caveman chimp. That's chimp knowledge. That's chimp information. Maybe that he feel like he putting that out for chimps, right? But that's outdated. And when that information was proven to be wrong, you would have thought that it should have been in the news. It should have been everywhere. But you still have academia puppets like him, as well as museums and all kinds of places still promoting this old information. Why? They know that it's incorrect. This is why I have in the video. Yeah, let's go to the video real quick.
Well, here is one of the X-ray generators we're using.
It means for human genetics, with the help of my trusty ping pong balls, some string balls are bits of DNA that we previously didn't know what they did, and the red bits here by tomatoes are genes. Now, a decade ago, the Human Genome Project gave us a complete list of the 3 billion letters that make.
So when you're looking at this right here, what he's trying to do here is give you the analogy that out of the complete DNA, they only understood 3%. And so the rest of the entire genome, all the rest of your DNA was regulated or just dismissed as junk DNA, right? I want y'all to understand this. Matter of fact, maybe we should go to the whiteboard. Yeah, maybe we should go to the whiteboard. Because I know people is not getting this. Because this whole monkey thing is crazy. Right? This whole monkey thing is crazy. So we need to get to the bottom of the monkey business. Let's get to the bottom of the monkey business. Okay. All right. So here's the monkey business. Only 3% of DNA was known. Only 3% of DNA was known. 97% of your DNA was unknown. I want y'all to get this. Right? Only 3% was known, 97% was unknown. Whenever you hear these goofballs telling you about how humans and chimpanzees is the same and all that, they're giving you a percentage of this. Get it? It's a percent of a percent. So when you hear Tyson DeGrassi saying, oh yeah, well, 99% of our DNA is the same as chimps, what he means to, not even means to say, he's just saying incorrect. What would make his statement correct is if he was saying 99% of the protein coding DNA, which is this, is the same as chimpanzees. This right here, they had no idea about this. They didn't know what this DNA was, what it did, or whatever. So they just put it into a black hole, literally. Zoop. Zoop. This is dark matter DNA, aka junk DNA. So we won't discuss this. We will discuss this. And when we discuss this, we're going to discuss this in a way that makes it seem to John Q. Public as if this 3% is 100% of DNA. That's the context that they'll use it in. So that 100% of your DNA is protein coding. So then they say things like, oh, your DNA's job is just protein coding. And also, you're 99% the same as a chimpanzee, right? Which validates the Darwinian ideas. This is the reason why they have to block out and leave out information. It validates the Darwinian idea that, oh yeah, you come from monkeys. Yeah, you come from monkeys. That's why you have 99% the same. Once we find out, like all of the people who are not atheists have been saying all along, hey, we don't believe in the concept of junk DNA. Our God's a little bit smarter than that. Just saying. If this junk DNA, maybe it's the 3% is the junk. 97% is junk. That's crazy. Right? So in the year, now, mind you, this is discovered, this 3%, this protein encoding, that's discovered in the 60s. What this DNA does is just discovered 15 years ago. 15 years ago. That's the ENCODE project. That's the ENCODE project. Project ENCODE. Project ENCODE. Should be Project Decode, right? But Project ENCODE basically is unraveling this. Right? It's unraveling this. So now there's almost no unknown DNA. Almost no. There's still some. About 10 to 15% of the DNA they still can't figure out. Right? And that's what it does at all. Then overall, a lot of the DNA that they do understand, they don't completely understand. Right? But the one thing we know for sure is this is out the window. The 3% of DNA and the 99% with the monkeys and all that's fake information. All that's gobbledygook. Listen, man, listen. Y'all supposed to be in these books. That's why y'all got them. Yo. Nah, I miss you too, though. I ain't gonna lie. I miss y'all too. I miss y'all too. Yeah. I miss y'all too. And online is dry. It's crazy dry. There is nothing online to watch. But get the books. I'm not even sure what we up to. I'm not even sure what we up to right now. Let me see where we at. Okay, hold up. Yeah, now make sure you got these. Right? But then, hold on. We gotta go to the new. The new books. Okay, yep. So number 10 is out. Number 10 is out. Genomics in Genesis. Book 10, Genomics in Genesis is out. Yeah. Because see, even that's a discussion we had to have in order to really get to this pocket. You know what I'm saying? In order to really get into this pocket, right? But genomics it starts in Genesis. Right? Genomics starts in Genesis. So, yeah, matter of fact, let's look it up. Let's just look it up. Let's just look it up. All right, so here's our definition for genomics, right? The interdisciplinary scientific study of an organism's complete set of DNA, including all its genes, It focuses on the structure, function, evolution, and mapping of genomes to understand how genes interact with each other and the environment. That's the key part right there. And the environment, right? And when we say environment, typically what we're talking about is diet and lifestyle, right? Unlike genetics, which studies single genes, genomics analyzes the entire genetic complement. Key aspects of genomics: the study of the entire genome rather than individual genes. Components: DNA sequencing, assembly, and mapping of an organism's genetic makeup. Right? Mapping of an organism's genetic makeup is where it really spreads. Right? Genome analysis, bioinformatics, molecular biology techniques. And the goal of genomics: to understand how genes influence health, diseases like cancer and diabetes, right? So that right there gives you the specifics on what it's about. Cancer and diabetes, right? Very, very, very important. And then you have a bunch of subcategories, and we get into the subcategories as well in the books, right? But remember, the Bible does start off with genomics, right? We have a warning, right? We have a warning that turns out to not be as surface level as we thought, right? There's a warning. Hey, it's a tree in the middle of the garden. If you eat from that tree, you're going to die. If you eat from that tree, you're going to die. Come to find out, some alternative information comes out about the fruit from that tree. If you eat from that fruit from that tree, you're not going to die. You're going to become like the gods. You're going to become ever living. You're going to become immortal. You're going to become a genius. You're going to become super strong, right? So immediately, we didn't pay attention to it because it's too simple. It's too simple for us to look, so we overlooked it, right? Immediately, the biggest threat, the biggest question that the Bible centers around is, what are we going to eat? What is healthy for us to eat or not? Is that healthy for us to eat? Is that going to kill us? Or because there's no middle ground. That apple, that fruit from that tree is either going to kill us or it's going to make us amazing. It's going to make us divine. It's going to make us godlike. Right? So the Bible opens with questions of food. Questions. And makes a astonishing statement, right? That a piece of food can change your genetics. That's expressed there. A piece of food, real food, a fruit, can change your genetics. And this is a discussion amongst the gods, right? That food can change your genetic expression. That's in the Bible. Right? So that's the newest newest book that's out is Genomics in Genesis, and we open up some of these conversations, but that's where we're at with it. The spirit code is really about how the breath, Genesis chapter 2, verse 7, how the breath became life, right? How a planet of gases and waters, you know what I mean, and rocks, how did cells get complex? How did the genetic codes come about? What is their origin stories, right? And as we learn about their origins, we learn how they work. And then it makes sense, the day-to-day care and maintenance, as well as the patterns of economic abuse that we see coming down the pipeline, with literally fast food restaurants taking one label off and slapping another label on the same product. The old, you know, the smoothie enough by itself is not, it's not doing it. Okay, we'll slap keto onto our chocolate smoothie. Yeah, slap keto on there. Boop. Yeah, this is the keto chocolate smoothie right here. This is really gone. Oh, okay, keto is not enough. Can we get rid of keto? Keep keto on there and slap GLP1 next to keto. Now, how you going to put keto next to GLP? Let me go back to that, because I want y'all to understand, that's why you have to have the knowledge. That's why the books is the most important thing, because otherwise, let me just go back to this. Let's go over here. Where you was at? Let me go and find this thing.
Physically repulsed by grease. What do? Do you go with option A and spend billions of dollars to fundamentally overhaul your entire global supply chain so you can start selling actual nutrient-dense, healthy food? Or do you go with option B and just rebrand your old products to appear healthy so you can keep those profit margins nice and fat? Well, if you answered A, you'd be classified as a terrible CEO and would probably be fired. In the Ozempic economy, survival is rarely about making a better product. It's often about being better at marketing. And one of the easiest things to market in this economy is protein. Protein signals discipline, fitness, optimization, and surely this can't be. Well, what about the Keto Champ GLP1 chocolate versus the regular Keto Champ chocolate?
Here we go. Now, this is why this is crazy. This is why this is crazy. Or just one of the reasons why it's crazy. And maybe it could just be me. Who knows? It could just be me, right? But why this is crazy to me, right, is because keto is a part of the problem. Keto is a part of the reason why we need GLP-1 drugs in the first place. That's the whole problem, is because people are going on unbalanced diets. And the people that are not going on unbalanced diets are standing firm on an unbalanced diet called the standard American diet, right? Which is almost no fiber. There's no fiber in the standard American diet, right? So you automatically crooked. Like, remember those commercials back in the days when you was like this and you needed to get a V8 drink? That was something that was a trend, right? The V8 juices, the vegetable juices in a can. So because people are not having fiber in their diet, you need a GLP-1 shot, which is going to give you a concentrated effect of having fiber throughout your diet all day, right? But keto stresses a all fat diet. So we're going to put you on the all fat diet or the high fat diet, right? And no carbs. Mind you, the carbs is the source of fiber. So we're going to put you on a no fiber diet and celebrate your GLP1 choice to get fiber shots, fiber extract. Yo, this is crazy. This is crazy. This is insane. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. It's crazy. So this is why we have the guy here, right? Because they didn't do this in America. They didn't feel like Americans were smart enough to even give a little tidbit, right? So over in the UK, they did at least a little introduction. I think it's called the BBC. You know, that's their TV programming over there. They did at least a little production where they was trying to get people to understand, like, okay, we got a lot of new information on DNA, so everything has changed, you know, and then try to give people some understanding to the difference between the old information and new information. So that's what you're seeing here, and starting back from the original with the discovery back in the 60s of DNA before we get into the new.
Well, here is one of the X-ray generators we're using in this work. We use X-rays to study the structure of a molecule because an X-ray travels along like this in a wavy kind of way, and the length of the waves of the X-rays are about equal to the distance between the atoms in a molecule. So that when an X-ray strikes the molecule, the waves of the X-rays can squeeze in between the atoms, and when they come out the other side, their directions are deviated. And from the deviation of the X-rays, we can work out the way in which the atoms are arranged inside the molecule. On the X-ray set, here is the X-ray tube, and here are two X-ray cameras. And inside the X-ray cameras, we have little specimens of DNA, which have been sent from Dr. Eprousse, who's just been speaking to you from Paris, or from Dr. Hamilton in New York. The X-rays come out like this and hit the specimens of DNA, and after several days exposure, we get an X-ray picture which looks like this. These spots show the direction in which the X-rays have been deviated. And from this kind of data, we are able to work out the structure of the DNA molecule. The main thing we find is that the molecule is a sort of corkscrew arrangement. It goes up along its length like this. But we don't know all the details. And in this kind of work, what we want is a sort of inspired guess. Inspired guess. And then inspired guess. And then to inspired guess. And then to work backwards with the X-rays from the inspired guess. Inspired.
Dr. Inky just discovered the spirit code, how breath becomes life.
Big breakthrough in genetics today. I'm going to explain what the Encyclopedia for DNA Elements, the ENCODE project, means for human genetics with the help of my trusty ping pong balls, some string, a bit of tape, a few paper clips, and some cherry tomatoes. Right, here we have a section of human DNA, the human genome. The blacked out ping pong balls are bits of DNA that we previously didn't know what they did, and the red bits here by tomatoes are genes. Now, a decade ago, the Human Genome Project gave us a complete list of the 3 billion letters that make up human genetic code. And people said at the time that we had the Book of Life. Now, it turned out it was harder to read than we expected. When we looked at all these genes and all the DNA, scientists found only 20,000 genes. And that makes up about 2 to 3% of all our DNA. The question became, what does the rest of this DNA do? In this model, the black balls. It was mysterious. People didn't know what it was. They actually called it the genomic dark matter, the dark matter of the genome. Or worse still, junk DNA. For a while, scientists weren't sure if it did anything at all. Thanks to the ENCODE project, we now know what most of our DNA does.
Dr. Inky just discovered the spirit code, how breath becomes life.
Dr. Inky, Dr. Inky, Dr. Inky. Spirit cold, living flow, watch the inner glow. Spirit cold, living flow, watch the inner glow. Breath hit, heart spin, now the whole field know. Came up, stayed down, now the system on go. From the pain to the power, yeah, we built it for sure. Spirit cold, let it ride, feel it head to your toes. Every move, every breath, that's the way that it goes. They ain't see it back then, now they watching it grow. Had to live it to learn it, now I'm running the flow. Step to the left, now step to the right. Hands to the sky, let it wave with the light.
These recipes all look crazy.
Yeah, and I'm definitely grateful to collab with Ink. Like he's been, sort of like a silent mentor, kind of like, guiding me through a lot of these different processes, and me reaching out to him. What do you think about this? What do you think about that? So that's just a testament to a lot of information that I gathered from him and other people.
Lamar, don't take my word for it. Stalin, Society Baby, Dead Stop, Madman, Jeremiah. Thanks to the whole chat.
It's not just kitchen chemistry. You gotta add chemistry in the kitchen.